Good afternoon. I see a little bit through the fog here. A lot of college students, a lot of people like myself that attended college a very long time ago, and quite a few college seniors. For those college seniors coming up, you're starting to think about that magical word, the J word, right? A job. My daughter Megan graduated from college last spring, and a couple of months before she graduated, she came to me and said, "Dad, we have to talk about what I'm going to do post-graduation." I said, "I love that idea." Meg said to me, "I want a job. I want the perfect job. I want a wonderful job doing amazing things with wonderful people." And I said, "Well, exactly what would you be doing?" "Oh, I'm not worried about that. I just want the best job." And so I'm saying to Megan, come on, that's part of the fun of it, trying to figure out what you're going to do. One of the things that happens when college students get ready to graduate, they start worrying about what is that first job. I have to tell you from my experience, your first job matters, but it doesn't matter nearly as much as you think it does. Your whole lives as college students, getting into college, now figuring out what you're going to study and how you're going to graduate, and then you get that first job. If I just do that, I'm set, right? Everything will be perfect. But what do you do after you get that first job? How do you be successful? I've been a CEO for many years, and one of the things that CEOs do is to look at resumes of all the people that are applying for jobs that want to come work at the company. The other thing we do is we do this thing called a new hire orientation. That's this whole thing where the employees that are new to the company that day, that week, that month, they all get together in a classroom setting. The senior management, the CEO, you get in that room and you talk about critical stuff about the company, like the vision, right? This is why we do what we do. And then you talk about the strategy. This is how we're going to do it. And then the values. This is what's important to us, right? And then if you, that new employee, aren't on the edge of your seat, what do? You tell them about lunch. Lunch is at noon. And the bathroom around the corner to the right. Those are the things that people actually care about, right, on your first day. So I thought that if I could read all the resumes beforehand, look at that two-dimensional piece of paper, that I could figure out, based upon where people went to school, what they studied, what their hobbies, interests were, that I knew who would be successful. Susie, Billy, Johnny, oh, Bobby, he's going to be wildly successful. And then I met Paul. Paul took a job at our company as an entry-level customer service rep. He was fresh out of college. He had a college degree in geography, which I'm thinking, geography, customer service, hey, it's a match, right? It has to be a perfect fit. But one of the things about Paul was that when he came to our company, he was all in. Now, the first time I met Paul was here, walking to this first day here. That's Paul on the right there. So as I walk up to my new hire orientation, this is what I see. He's the guy on the right with the glasses and the great attitude, right? As I walk by this guy, I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, what are those guys doing? As I go into the office, I sit down, I'm getting ready to give my big spiel on the values, strategy, etc. And who walks in? But Paul sits down right in front of me. I'm thinking to myself, I had better go talk to recruiting because we got some issues. So I go through, I talk about the strategy, the values, the organizational plan, the operational plan, everything. And when I'm all done, Paul comes up to me and he says, "Mr. Crown, oh, it's so awesome. I want to do so well in the company. I want to rise up through the ranks. I want to go as high as I can. What do I need to do? Tell me so I can do it." It was at that moment that I kind of stepped back a little bit, and I realized I didn't know the answer. Such a basic question. How could I not know the answer? That question that Paul asked, I've been struggling with for 25 years. Now, when Paul took that job as an entry-level customer service rep as a college graduate, most people would say, "Oh, I'm not doing that job. That's too low. I need to come up a little bit. You hire me at a little bit higher level." But not Paul. Paul was all in. He wanted to learn every single thing he possibly could about being customer service rep. In fact, here he is in the office. And you can see we had wonderful digs back then, didn't we? Notice the Mac there, not one, but 2 floppies. I mean, we're talking big time here. So Paul, within just 2 months, had mastered everything there was to do in customer service as a rep. And something happened that week. We started getting phone calls over and over again about the same problem. We were shipping the wrong product to customers, and it was the same thing every phone call. Paul decided to get up out of his chair and walk down the hall to the other building, to the warehouse, where he grabbed all these orders that we'd made mistakes on and put them on the warehouse manager's desk and said, hey, we're making the same mistake over and over. And right there, the manager and Paul talked through the problem, scoped it out, and figured out a solution and implemented it before the end of the day. He solved the problem. Why? Why did Paul get out of his chair? What did he do to want to do that? It wasn't even his department. It wasn't his job description. But he did it. All those other people in customer service, almost every single one of them knew what was happening and probably knew the solution. But they didn't get up, and Paul did. 6 months later, at the ripe old age of 23, I asked Paul to be customer service manager. Paul looked at me a little bit like, I don't know if I could do this. I've never done that before. In fact, I've never managed a single other person. I said, not to worry, Paul. What's important is that you want to do this. And at that moment, Paul went from sitting in his comfortable place, a place where he knew how to do every single function, everything as a customer service manager, and he put himself out there. And he said, I'll do this, even though I don't know exactly what to do. This is what I call going into the fog. And every successful person has to do it. They have to make a conscious decision to say, I'm going to change. I'm going to go from comfort to discomfort, from known to unknown, to uncertainty, to vulnerability. You might fail. And it's at that moment that you have to decide as an individual, do I want to go to the next level? Do I want to do the next thing? Paul said to me right then, he goes, I don't know exactly what to do. So can you tell me what to do the first thing? So I used an old management trick. I said, take out 3 pieces of paper. All the things you're going to start doing as customer service manager, the things you're going to keep doing and stop doing, and write them all down. Let's go over them. Because something's going to change. All the time you've been a customer service rep, you've been doing tasks. Just these things. Now you're going to stop doing tasks. You're going to start doing management and a little bit of leadership. So those people in customer service that are doing their job yesterday and today and tomorrow, they're doing exactly the same thing. You, Paul, are going to do something different. And at that moment, Paul jumped in with both feet again. He was all in. 2 more years went by, successes, failures. It's never easy. As I like to say, easy problems were solved yesterday. Hard problems, those are the one that ends up on managers' desks, right? Paul was there for 2 full years as customer service manager, and we as a company decided to purchase another operation in England. It was in the same business we were in, technology equipment sales. Now, this company with 200 people, we thought we knew what we were doing. We didn't. It wasn't going very well. In fact, it was going downhill. So this is the time I walk into Paul's office and I say, Paul, have you ever lived in England before? Have you ever been a general manager before? Have you ever run 200 people? And hey, Paul, can you go for say 3 or 4 years? And maybe Monday, as in this Monday? Now, Paul said, wow, that's a long way. But I'm thinking to myself, this is a geography major, right? He knows where that's at. And he kind of speaks the same language. I'm like, how hard can it be, right? So before Paul goes, he sits down again and he goes, man, Tim, we're going to be going into a very, very difficult situation. Again, I don't know what to do. I don't know anybody. I've never been there. I mean, the operation's going the wrong way. What do I do? And that's when I go back to one of my own mentors said to me, going into situations just like this. There's 3 phrases I want you to use, Paul. Number 1, grab all the managers and ask them, how can I help you? Number 2, what do you think? And number 3, the most important, shut up and sit down and start writing. These people, as managers, they know more than you'll ever know. Why? Because they've been doing this job 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year. And then go department by department, sit down with every single person in that company and ask them these questions. And even if you decide to change radically what they're doing, a couple of things are going to happen. First of all, you're going to learn a tremendous amount about what's going on in the company. And second of all, it's going to go from us versus them to we are going to solve this problem. We are going to make it better. And Paul did. Paul made it radically better. And just a few years later, as he says, a lifetime, 3.5 years later, he came back to Phoenix as a senior executive running procurement and logistics. How does a guy go from customer service rep to a senior executive in less than 8 years? You might think this is a one-off. This will never happen. It's a unicorn, right? Absolutely not. I've seen it happen hundreds of times. And you know what? There's a lot of commonalities there. Now, the paths to get there are so different. You couldn't put 2 people together and say, hey, they followed exactly the same track. They're all different tracks, all different ways to get there. But they followed some commonalities, values, attributes, the desire to go into the fog, to do something they've never done before, to put themselves out there, to get into vulnerable where they might fail. Every one of those people that's been wildly successful that I've worked with has had great attributes. 4 of the attributes stick out in my mind as being attributes that almost every single one of them had. Curiosity, integrity, tenacity, and initiative. Certainly not the only great attributes of these individuals, but every one of them lived and breathed these from the base position all the way to the middle, all the way to the very top of what they did in the organization. They lived and breathed this. Something else happened as they were going up. They learned this magical thing called activities aren't important, outcomes are important. Somewhere the light bulb goes off and the individuals say, it's not how much effort I put towards something, it's not my intention, it's what is the result, while maintaining my integrity. At that moment, these people are ready to go up. Now, all of us out here, all of us have a different set of histories, a different set of backgrounds. Every one of you got here a different way, didn't you? Going forward, the person next to you, I can guarantee you they won't have your same path going forward. Your choice, your individual choice to choose to go up in an organization or a company is going to be an individual one. Only you can make it. Now, me, I had the privilege to go to a very exclusive university, University of Kansas. For those of you that don't know, we only accept 93% of those that apply. Oh, by the way, I promise you, if you're one of the 7%, just do it again. We'll click it on through. Come on down. We want everybody. Now, my first job out of college, I was transferred to Jackson, Mississippi, a place I'd never been before. And my job title was administrative analyst. Now, it's been 30 years. I still have absolutely no idea what administrative analyst does. I'm hoping somebody clues me in by the time I die. That was my start. So when college kids come up to me right now, when they're getting ready to graduate or thinking about graduating in the near future, they say to me, oh my God, I don't know if I had the right major. Man, am I going to get a first job? What if I don't get the right job? What if I just get any job? So when I think about that, it's not about where you start, it's where you end. It's what you do in between that's going to decide your success, not where you started. Your future is going to be written by you. Thank you.